Welcome, beautiful soul. If you're hearing this right now, it is not by accident. The energy surrounding this full moon in May 2025 has been quietly building, not to overwhelm you, but to awaken you. And yet, for many of us, it won't feel like awakening at all. It may feel like disconnection, like drifting, like forgetting who you are, why you're here, and what once made sense. But this sensation of being spiritually lost, emotionally unanchored, or drawn inward for no reason you can explain is not a sign that something's wrong. It is a sacred initiation. This full moon is not breaking you down, it's peeling you open. It's not here to demand answers from you. It's here to dissolve the outdated questions you've been asking yourself for far too long. Under this moonlight, what is unfamiliar is not dangerous. It's divine. You are not unraveling because you're failing. You're unraveling because you're shedding a skin that no longer fits the soul you've become. So if you're feeling distant from yourself, if your intuition feels silent, if your path looks foggy and your old desires no longer spark joy, stay with me, because what you're moving through is not an ending. It is the quiet, mystical breath before a rebirth. And in the rest of this message, we'll explore exactly why this is happening, what it means for your soul's evolution, and how to surrender into the space that is gently preparing you for your next great becoming. Shall we begin? You may not be able to explain it even to yourself. That sudden pull to delete your social media, to turn off your phone, to stop replying to messages that once felt urgent, it doesn't come from fear. It doesn't even come from sadness. It comes from a deeper knowing that something inside you is no longer willing to be seen in half light, that the roles you've been performing, the expectations you've carried, and even the dreams that once felt like oxygen are no longer yours to hold. There is a moment in every soul's journey when the performance must end. Not because you failed, but because the script no longer speaks to who you are. That's what this moon is initiating, a quiet exit from the spotlight of your old identity. You may feel tempted to apologize for pulling away. You may worry you're letting people down, but what you're really doing is stepping backstage, clearing the set, making room for a story that hasn't been written yet, one that isn't shaped by survival or performance, but by truth. And in that silence, in that sacred withdrawal, something miraculous begins. The self that was never allowed to exist, the one beneath the labels, the roles, the curated life, begins to stir, not loudly, not with urgency, but like an ancient drumbeat in your bones. It asks nothing of you but space. It doesn't want a plan. It wants you to stop pretending. It wants you to stop explaining. It wants you to stop trying to be understandable to those who only ever knew a fraction of you. This isn't escapism, it's alignment. And yes, it will confuse others. They may say you've changed, that you've become distant, aloof, even selfish. Let them. Not everyone will recognize what rebirth looks like in its earliest stages, when it still resembles disappearance. But those who truly see you, those who are meant to walk with you in this next version of life, will not fear your silence. They will trust it. They will honor it. They will know that what looks like solitude is sacred restructuring. So if you find yourself longing to vanish, to start over in a place where no one knows your name, to live more slowly, more simply, more authentically, honor that pull. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. That is the voice of your future self whispering, I am waiting for you on the other side of everything you no longer need. But just as you begin to clear space, something will arrive, almost perfectly timed. It will look like an answer. It will feel like relief. It may be an old lover with new words, a long-lost opportunity now dressed in gold, or a vision that once broke your heart returning with a gentler face. And for a moment, your heart may leap. It will whisper, maybe now is different. Maybe this is the reward for everything I've let go. But this is where the magic of this full moon becomes its most dangerous. Because It doesn't only illuminate truth, it also cloaks temptation in the costume of clarity. This is not a punishment. It's a test, not of your strength, but of your vision. Can you recognize the shape of an old cycle, even when it returns in a more seductive form? Can you feel the subtle dissonance in something that logically makes sense, but intuitively stirs unease? Can you trust the quiet discomfort in your body more than the polished perfection of what's being offered? This moon doesn't want to see if you'll say yes. It wants to know if you've learned how to say no, not out of fear, but out of fierce alignment, because sometimes the most divine decision is the one that walks away from what looks easy. Sometimes spiritual growth isn't about choosing the path that shines the brightest. It's about sensing which one holds your truth, even when it's dimly lit and lonely. This energy is deceptive, not because it lies, but because it reflects your deepest desires. It knows what you crave. It knows what you long to believe, and it will mirror it back to you, just to see if you're still chasing comfort or if you're truly ready for authenticity. You are not being asked to doubt everything. You're being asked to feel everything. Not through your mind, but through the quiet language of your intuition. That means honoring the unease, the tension in your gut, the way your body subtly tightens when something's off. That's your compass now, not logic, not external validation, but the resonance of your inner knowing. So, if something looks too good to be true, pause. Don't leap just because the timing seems perfect. Wait, listen, breathe, and ask yourself not what this moment promises, but what it costs. Because under this full moon, anything that pulls you out of your alignment, no matter how beautiful, is not a gift. It is a distraction. As this full moon moves deeper into your psyche, you may begin to notice something strange. The usual signs you rely on no longer arrive the same way. The synchronicities feel muted. Your tarot cards fall flat. Your mantras echo without response. That crystal clear yes or no you used to feel so strongly in your chest, silent now. It's as if the universe has gone quiet, like you're listening through water, where everything is muffled and slow. But this isn't disconnection. It's rewiring. Your inner guidance system is being recalibrated, not removed. And during this recalibration, the mind must step back so the body can take the lead. This is when intuition stops being symbolic and becomes primal. You won't just know the truth. You'll feel it, often in ways you can't explain. A voice will sound sweet, but you'll sense something rancid beneath it. A room will look fine, but your skin will tighten as if a storm is hiding in the walls. A text message may read like love, but your breath will catch as if it's warning you to look again. These are not hallucinations. They are signals from the oldest part of you, the part that was never taught how to lie to itself. Your nervous system has become the oracle, your body the divining rod. And yes, this shift can feel destabilizing. You're not used to making decisions from the belly instead of the brain. You may wonder if you're overreacting, or worse, losing your grip on what's real. But the truth is, you're finally stepping into a level of discernment that doesn't need permission. You're no longer seeking confirmation outside of you. You're learning to listen to the soft tremors within. This moon isn't interested in how spiritually wise you sound. It doesn't care how aligned your vision board looks or how often you recite affirmations. It wants to know, can you feel what's true, even when it's inconvenient, even when it breaks the fantasy, even when no one else sees what you see? Because this isn't about decoding signs anymore. It's about becoming the sign. You are being asked to live as a being who no longer waits for proof, but moves from a truth so embodied that nothing outside of you can shake it. And that, beloved one, is the beginning of a kind of power you were never meant to outsource. Your rituals don't resonate. Your dreams feel distant. The goals that once lit your fire now seem hollow or irrelevant. Even the practices that once grounded you, journaling, meditating, pulling cards, feel strangely empty, like going through motions in a language you've forgotten how to speak. But listen carefully. This is not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that your old identity has quietly outlived its purpose. What you're experiencing is not confusion. It's spiritual amnesia, a soul-induced forgetting, created not to punish you, but to clear space for a deeper, more authentic remembering. You see, purpose is not a fixed point. It's a living frequency, and as your soul expands, the map you once followed must dissolve, because it no longer leads to where you're going. That map was created by a version of you that needed it, a version who once needed labels, roles, validation, structure. But now, you're being called into a state beyond that, into the wide, unmarked territory of your becoming. This is why nothing clicks, why you feel out of rhythm with your own life, why conversations feel empty, why your routines feel like cages, why your body doesn't respond the way it used to. You are not malfunctioning, you are reconfiguring. The version of you that was built to survive is stepping aside for the one that was born to lead, to create, to exist fully and freely without needing to explain itself. But this in-between, this sacred limbo, is not meant to be rushed. You cannot force clarity here. You cannot demand revelation on your timeline. This is the cocoon, not the wings. It is meant to feel silent, formless, even mournful. Because in order to be reborn, you must allow the old self to die, not with fear, but with reverence. There will be moments where you miss your old dreams, moments when you ache for structure, for certainty, for the sweet illusion of knowing exactly where you're headed. Let those moments pass through you. They are echoes, not instructions. What's coming cannot be built on what has been. It must rise from the ashes of everything that no longer fits, not because it was wrong, but because it was complete. And that is the beauty of this full moon. It doesn't offer the next chapter. It tears out the page you've been stuck rereading, not to leave you storyless, but to remind you that you are the author, and this silence is simply the sound of a pen being lifted before it writes a truer line. If you've made it this far, into the heart of this full moon silence, then you already sense what most can't yet name, that something has shifted, even if it hasn't taken form. There is no loud breakthrough waiting here, no trumpet of revelation. Instead, there is a softness, subtle, quiet, and almost anticlimactic, like waking from a long, strange dream and realizing the room hasn't changed, but you have. You're not who you were when this began, not because of something you did, but because of what you allowed. Your nervous system is no longer bracing. Your heart, though still uncertain, is not frantic. There is an exhale where there used to be effort, and though your outer life may still carry the same shape, same relationships, same tasks, same spaces, you know something profound has left you, and something new has begun to arrive in its place. You'll notice it not in visions, but in your responses, in the way you no longer explain yourself, in the way old triggers dissolve into indifference, in the way silence becomes not absence, but presence. You are not rushing to be understood anymore. You're not chasing validation. You've become attuned to a deeper frequency, one that speaks without symbols, one that guides without force, one that moves through you as a gentle, unwavering knowing. Others might say you've changed, that you're quieter, slower, harder to read. Let them. They're right, but not because you've dimmed, because you've deepened, because the old ways of reacting, proving, and performing were never your truth. They were echoes of an identity you no longer owe anything to. And now, finally, The clarity you longed for begins to settle, not as an answer, but as a gravity. You feel drawn, not pushed, pulled, not pressured. You begin to sense what is for you before it arrives, and what is not for you dissolves without a fight. You stop asking for signs, because you are the sign. Your life is no longer built around seeking. It becomes the embodiment of alignment itself. This, beloved, is the quiet return. Not to your old self, but to the soul underneath it all. The one that never left, only waited. So let this full moon do its work. Let it dissolve what must fall away. Let it blur the lines, unravel the roles, confuse the mind, and call the spirit forward through mystery. Because what's waiting on the other side of this fog isn't just a clearer path. It's you, the version of you who no longer needs clarity to move, who no longer needs control to trust. The one who remembers that real transformation doesn't come from doing more. It comes from surrendering to the beauty of being undone. And so, dear soul, if everything feels quiet now, let it. If your direction feels uncertain, trust that. You are not falling behind. You are not unraveling in vain. You are in a sacred pause, the kind the universe only offers to those ready for something far more real than the life they once performed. You don't need to rush toward clarity. You don't need to rebuild the moment something collapses. You only need to stay present. Stay soft, stay surrendered, because everything you are becoming is already finding its way to you, not through force, but through resonance. Let yourself rest in the unknown. Let yourself be held by the dark. Let yourself breathe without answers. And repeat softly if it helps, I do not need to be certain to be aligned. I do not need to be understood to be true. I trust what is leaving. I welcome what is arriving. I am already becoming what I was always meant to be. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. And when the fog begins to lift, may you recognize yourself not by what has stayed the same, but by everything you were brave enough to let go of.